Okay, again, we're going to solve the quadratic inequality algebraically. So the first thing you want to do is just treat this like a quadratic equation and solve for x. So we have 2x squared minus 7x plus 3 equals 0. That's what we're going to treat it like. I'm going to check, can I factor first? So my AC value, 2 times 3 would be 6, and my B value equals negative 7. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 6, add to negative 7. I could do 1 and 6. Those two add to be positive 7. So if I make them both negative, that's how I would get them to add to negative 7 and still multiply to be positive 6. So now I can rewrite my equation as 4 terms because I am splitting the negative 7x into a minus 1x and a minus 6x. The rest of the equation stays the same. Then I'm going to factor out my GCF from my first two terms and my last two terms. Between the 2 and the negative 1, I can't factor out a number, but between x squared and x, I can factor out an x. That would leave me with 2x minus 1. Then the next part, between negative 6x and a positive 3, I can factor out a negative 3. And again, you want to factor out a negative when this first term here is negative. That would leave me with a 2x minus 1. At this point, your parentheses should be the same. Boop, there we go. And we are basically factoring these parentheses out. So then we would just write it once. And the parts that are left over would be the second set of parentheses. After you've factored, then you are going to solve. So we're going to set each set of parentheses equal to 0. The 2x minus 1 equals 0. When we solve that, we will get x equals 1/2. Then for the next one, x minus 3 equals 0. When we solve that one, we get x equals 3. Now, if we were solving a quadratic equation, that would be our final answer. But we are solving a quadratic inequality. So we're going to go ahead, draw a number line with these numbers on there. So we have 1/2 and 3. And you want to make sure you always list the numbers in order, smallest to largest, otherwise that can mess up your answer. This parabola is opening up. So because it's opening up, my vertex would be somewhere down here, and it's going to go up through the 1/2 and the 3. Okay, so if we look at our original inequality, it does have the or equal to. So these points are going to be included in our answer. So I'm going to put a filled in point there to help me remember that. And we have 2x squared minus 7x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 0. So we are going to look at when is this graph positive and when is this graph negative. Remember, when it's below that number line, that is when the graph is negative. When it is above the number line, that is when it is positive. Right now, we are looking for when is this positive. And that is both of these parts. Now, when you look at this, remember our graph is going to continue to go sideways. And I'm doing it very drastic, but it's going to continue to go left and right. So this piece over here on the left side, all of those values are going to be less than or equal to that 1/2. So that part of the graph, you will have x is less than or equal to 1/2. That is part of our answer. Then over on the right side, all of these values are when 3 or are going to be greater than 3. So for that part, you would write x is greater than or equal to 3. Both of these together are your answer. So in between, you can write or. It just has to meet the requirements of one of these inequalities, not both. All right, you can go on to the next video to see another example if you need, or you can skip to the part about the regression lines.